World champion Domaraju Gukesh makes his way into the premises of the Oslo Public Library. He's coming in with his second Grzegorz Gajewski, and Gukesh has been in good form in this tournament. He managed to beat Vincent Keimer in the Armageddon, then lost to Wesley So in the Armageddon, but was winning in the classical game, and today in round 3 takes on the leader Alireza Firouzja. Now look at the focus of Gukesh when he's entering in. There are people who want pictures with him. He's just single-mindedly focused on his game. He nods to his trainer and goes all in. Some interviews that have to be done, he says after the game, and just tries to get inside the playing hall to focus in. And there he is, Magnus was blocking his path and he just goes from behind. Now this game that we are about to see is not their classical game. It was drawn. The classical game was very even. Alireza managed to hold a draw. Now it's time for the Armageddon, where Alireza will have 7 minutes and draw odds, while Gukesh will have 10 minutes on the clock. And you can see Alireza, this is the first point that he'll drop in the tournament, because he was on 6 out of 6 with wins over Pragnananda and Magnus. And there he is following one of the encounters on the big screen of someone who's playing. And it's incredible how Alireza is playing this tournament. He has had an injury, he's unable to walk, he's coming in a wheelchair, and somehow this is so much positive attitude he has. In fact, he was saying in the interviews that sitting like this is helping him focus more. And there you see Gukesh comes in. And will Gukesh manage to beat Alireza in this time format? It's clear that Firouzja is the stronger of the speed players between the two. But 10 minutes is a little bit towards the rapid, it's less towards the blitz, and Gukesh's rapid skills are much better than his blitz skills. So with the white pieces, let's see if he can make use of those extra 3 minutes that he has as he lines up all his pawns in one beautiful line. The players are ready, and I think we are ready as well. Alireza is just looking up at the other game. The arbiter comes in. Handshake. Let's go. Pawn to d4 by Gukesh. d5 by Firouzja. c4, Queen's Gambit. Queen's Gambit declined. Knight to c3. c5, we have the Tarrasch defense played by Alireza. Gukesh takes on d5. ed5 taken by Alireza. Knight comes to f3. This is well known. And bishop f4 is lesser known. I mean, the main move here is g3. That's how people would play and fight for an advantage with white. Bishop f4 is little less played, which is why maybe Alireza is a bit surprised. He goes knight f6, e3. And now c4 is possible here to push the pawn, and I think it's the main line, but it would lead to a similar structure to what he played against Magnus Carlsen. So bishop b4 played, and let's see what Gukesh does. He goes bishop to b5, pinning the knight here. Bishop d7, unpinning. I mean, it was possible to take on c3 and spoil the structure a bit, but giving up the dark squared bishop comes with its own repercussions. Gukesh can now go rook c1, defend this. He can even castle and let black spoil his structure a bit, get the bishop pair, but he decides to go back to e2 to defend the knight. Also keeping an eye on the d5 pawn. Right now it's not hanging, the knight is pinned, but next move you can castle and that should be good. Firouzja thinking here, he has 5 minutes 36 seconds. Gukesh has 8 minutes 13 seconds. So the 3-minute time lead still remains. Castles, and Gukesh also castles here. Important moment now, because I think this pawn is hanging now on d5. So bishop e6 played, and Gukesh goes queen a4. A lovely move, I think, because the threat is to take on c6. The b4 bishop is hanging. If you have to give it up, I get the bishop pair. So I'm a bit curious. What is Firouzja going to do? I think the best move here is queen b6. You play queen b6. The queen then defends the bishop. So take happens. But he goes queen a5. And that's a bit surprising because now bishop takes c6. You can't take the queen. I'll simply take back with the bishop with an extra piece. So bishop c6, pawn takes, and queen takes c6. Would Gukesh be ready for this variation to go in and snatch a pawn? He does it. He takes on c6, and Firouzja looks a bit surprised that Gukesh actually did that. Because now if rook f8 hitting the queen, I can simply drop back my queen to a4, and the knights supporting each other become very, very helpful. So queen b5 or queen a4, they go queen a4. Knight jumps into e4, attacking now here. But okay, you just trade queens. You take on e4. You put your knight on d4. Oof, extra pawn. Very nice position. Gukesh does it. Takes, bishop takes, and now knight takes e4. Is he going to do that? Thinking hard here because there might be other possibilities like bishop e5, bishop d4. That's also a nice move, keeping full control of the position. And I think that's what is keeping Gukesh engaged here, whether he should do bishop e5 or whether he should take on e4. He takes on e4, pawn takes e4, and the knight jumps into d4. So bishop c4 is now important. The compensation that black has for the piece is that, for the missing pawn is that the bishop pairs exist. Now the rook is attacked. So I think the best move is rook c1. Plays it. Bishop goes to b4. I'm not sure what the bishop is doing there, but a3 or b3. He goes a3, hitting the bishop. And now the bishop has to go back. Bishop f8. Because there are all sorts of threats now in the position. Yeah, have to keep this diagonal under control. Otherwise, knight f5 would have taken these important squares. b3 now. Can you push the bishop away and then play b4? That's possible. He plays pawn to b4 directly. And I think what Gukesh wants is rook c3, rook c1, and simply double down the c file and make his extra pawn count. Bishop to d3 played, and now a lovely move, bishop c7. I absolutely love it because you want to double down the c file, but it's impossible when the rooks are facing off against each other. This move, bishop c7, reminds me of the Karpov Unzicker move of bishop a7, where you block a file, prepare yourself on it, and then unblock it. So now rook c3 makes sense to double on the c file. I think for Gukesh, it's a problem of plenty. There's so many good moves. He goes rook c3. He also has 2 extra minutes on the clock. So Gukesh has played until now a perfect Armageddon game from the white side. He's kept his time lead. He now has a positional advantage. He has a material advantage. And he should be able to convert it. He looks up to see how many moves have been completed. 23 moves. After move 40, you get 1 second increment. And so for now, Gukesh has plenty of time. Alireza thinking about how to play this. He goes h5, stopping some g4 ideas for white to expand. Okay, rook c1. You continue with your plan here. Plays it. Rook c1. Rook goes to e8 for Firouzja. And do you want to take away all back rank issues with the move h3? I think it's a very logical move to put your pawn on h3 here. One of the main things here that white wants is a4, b5. Not so easy to engineer. He goes rook c6. If he can trade one of the bishops, let's say the dark squared bishops, the knight on d4 will become very stable. Firouzja goes bishop e7. He wants to go to f6 and hit this knight. Once you have opposite colored bishops, the chances of this ending in a draw increase. Maybe knight f5 is possible, bishop f6, and suddenly you have this knight h6 move, which is crazy. If you take here rook f6, if you go king h7, I can take on f7. If you go king f8, it's a very pretty bishop d6 check. So there are many tactical possibilities, and this is the reason why Gukesh is thinking here and is bleeding a bit of time. He's down to 4 minutes. h3 played, a useful move, taking away back rank issues. And Alireza Firouzja goes bishop f6. He would love to capture this knight. So Gukesh goes a4 and he's like, take it, Alireza, if you want. I'm happy to play this opposite colored bishop position because d5, d6 is very powerful. You can't stop it. Okay, Firouzja understands that. He goes rook a7. These are kind of moves which are difficult to make. Bishop b6, lovely move. Attacking the rook, defending the knight. Rook to b7, I believe. He plays rook d7. And now, I don't know if it's a threat to take on d4 just yet. But I guess it is a bigger threat than before. So you need to move the knight. Let's say knight b3 with the idea of bishop d4. Oh, that would be perfect reorganization of your pieces. Bring one knight here, bring the bishop here, put the knight on c5. It just looks perfect. Everything works like clockwork there. And Gukesh finds it. Knight b3 on the board with still 1 minute 16 seconds more on the clock. Firouzja understands the gravity of the situation. He's very close to getting his first defeat here. Maybe he has to try and muddy the waters. He goes bishop b2 and Gukesh has a very strong move, rook c8 to trade rooks. But instead he goes rook d1, and here Firouzja has a beautiful resource, which is bishop to b5. What a nice move, because rook takes rook. I take on c6, I attack your rook and the pawn. Not an easy move to find, but you can bank on Firouzja to find such things. He's so tricky with less time and he finds it with just taking 16 seconds, and you could see Gukesh there flinching a bit. He's like, these are the things you don't want Firouzja to do against you, to find these tactical possibilities. Okay, now you must take. There's no other way because your rook is hanging. What else to do? I mean, rook c d6 is possible, but after take, bishop takes a4, the pawn would hang. So he takes bishop c6 and comes back rook d2. A very nice move. Now bishop e5 is the best move, but bishop c3 you have rook c2 and you lose a piece. So bishop a3 played. That's a mistake because I think Alireza has missed a very nice resource that Gukesh has. b5, a b5, knight d4, attacking the bishop and the pawn, getting it back with a clear-cut advantage. Can Gukesh find b5? With 2 minutes 43 seconds, 1 minute 16 seconds for Alireza Firouzja. Gukesh has to trick his opponent here. Finds it. b5. Beautiful move. And now Firouzja takes on b5. Knight goes to d4. He needs to move the bishop away now. But where will the bishop go? I mean, bishop d7. Not so sure. If bishop d7, you even have knight c2 attacking this bishop and this bishop. So you can't even go there. Oh, this is getting very intense. In fact, the bishop is almost trapped. Bishop b4 attacking the rook. Let's go rook c2. Is rook b2, there is bishop c3. Unfortunately, I'll take the knight. So, rook c2. Gukesh, of course, has to think a bit, but he also needs to play quickly. He needs to put more pressure on the clock, on Alireza. He sees that he has a minute advantage. He goes rook c2, attacking the bishop. Bishop must go back. bd7, bishop b7 as well. Okay, you can also go bd5, but now Gukesh is in the driver's seat. He goes bishop d5, ab. Take with the b pawn, a pawn to b5. and you have everything under control. I mean, this is the most stable advantage that one can get, and Gukesh must convert it. Takes, good move. +3 advantage. That's how big it is. This is not only about the extra pawn, it's about the placement of the pieces. Rook a8, trying to enter in here. There's a big threat, kind of a big threat. Check. Bishop d6, forcing g3 to weaken, and then if you can get this light squared bishop somehow to f3, there would be something. Okay, it's a long plan, but it's at least something. Bishop c5 is the best move here to block the bishop from going back to d6. And Gukesh finds it. Bishop c5, good move. Okay, check. He goes in, king h2, bishop a5, now threatening to come here. A very, very powerful move is bishop d6, just blocking it. The other move is knight f5, idea knight e7. Also, if you give me a check, I'll block it here with bishop d6 and it's game over. So knight f5, these are the kind of moves you need to find. Knight c6, a mistake, a huge mistake. Bishop check, g3, and now Gukesh looks up, 40th move done, but this is the error he's made. Bishop comes here, and this is something that unfortunately Gukesh has missed, with Alireza just having 14 seconds. If he could have made 1 or 2 more accurate moves, he would have won the game. But now Firouzja has a clear idea. With bishop f3 and rook h1 mate, the only way to prevent it is knight d4. But then knight d4, bishop e5, I chop this off and I go bishop f3. Can you believe it? What incredible counterplay Alireza has found against this king which looked so safe. Now Alireza looks up, he knows 40 moves are done, 1 second increment has kicked in. Gukesh down to 16 seconds, bishop e5 instantly played. Instantly. And I guess the only way is rook d2. He plays rook d2. If you take, I take with the bishop hitting your rook, so I get some time. Firouzja takes, bishop takes, hitting the rook, rook b1, now rook b2. Play it. I think it's a draw. But draw is not enough. In an Armageddon, black will win. g4, h4, keeping the box closed in. The king cannot go out. He takes the rook. Oh, he needed to play rook b2. But now king g2, f4, king comes up. Black is totally winning now. g6 takes, king takes. Alireza and Gukesh playing on their last few seconds. They have 1 second increment, so they will not flag here. But Alireza is winning. He's completely winning. King c6. But Gukesh gets a chance to hit the pawn here. He comes in. Rook takes h3. And he needs to win somehow. But there's not enough time. King g3. h2. It's a draw and Gukesh resigns because he cannot win anymore. What a game this was. And Alireza Firouzja showing his class once more in time trouble. Gukesh, I think 80% of the way had solved it all. But this is what fast-paced chess is all about. It's about creating those tricks, traps, and you need to be super alert, which Alireza is. Gukesh wasn't in the end, but this is a great learning experience for him. Alireza maintains his lead in this tournament. After 2 classical wins, he now has a win in an Armageddon. He's on 7.5 points. The second placed player is on 4.5 points. That's Pragnananda. He has a 3-point lead. Insane play. He sits there. What a guy. Injured, but absolutely playing with everything that he's got. An inspiring story for sure. Alireza Firouzja, hats off to you.